So you got a rental and your tenants want to make some changes to the lease. So I don't know, for example, let's say that two people moved in, boyfriend, girlfriend, they got in a fight. One person wants to leave. So they want their name off the lease. No. Right, so you never make changes to the lease. In cases where something like that happens, right? The lease stands no matter what, and they're still responsible for the lease, both of them, even if one person moves out, right? However, there are some exceptions, right? So what I do usually, let's say that you have a property that allows pets, the tenants moved in, they didn't have pets, now they got a pet, right? So now that they got a pet, then they ask you if, like, hey, is it okay if we have a pet? And you say, you can either say no, but if you say no, they're still gonna bring the pet in and they're still gonna have a pet, right? But the better thing to do is you say yes, you make sure that, you know, their rental tenant insurance, I can't even think of words right now, is squared away and they have the right coverage to have pets. Or really, it's really just liability. They have higher liability, so it hits them if something happens before you and you have some sort of pet agreement, and I charge a pet fee and pet rent, right? So if I would have said no, they would have got the pet anyway. I wouldn't have got my pet fee or my pet rent. I say yes, I get my pet fee and my pet rent. Same thing goes if a tenant moves in, they're single, and now they got a girlfriend and they want to add them to the lease. Most of the time, if you say no, they're still gonna move in, right? So we usually try not to directly add them, but we'll tell them that we'll do the background check and credit check on them to make sure that they are a good tenant and they are allowed to move in. And then upon renewing the lease, then we can add them to the lease, right? So there's different scenarios. If the tenant's asking to be removed from the lease, absolutely not. If someone is trying to get added, trying to get a pet, things along that line, I allow it, because even if you don't allow it, it's still gonna happen, right? So you either allow it and you have some control of it, or you don't allow it at all. And right, you're not gonna be over there looking at your house nonstop, right? There's properties I haven't seen. I mean, I maybe drive past them like once a year just to be like, oh, still there. Grass is cut, the bushes aren't crazy, someone's living there, right? The rent's paid. You know, we check in with tenants every now and then, like, hey, is everything good? Just want to check in, make sure you're good, make sure you change the furnace filter, you know, give them a reminder every so often on stuff like that. But yeah, so that's just kind of what I do. So when a tenant asks to do some sort of change to the lease, I never allow it unless it's a pet or an extra person. You know, it has to go through the proper channels, but usually you don't want to make changes throughout the lease. Mostly if you're like mid-year, right? Act like it's like written in stone and you can only modify it after a year or 2 years or however long you do your lease agreement. So hope to help, and have a great rest of your weekend.